Alright, so here we are looking at the Gnome Motel program, and we do have 3 mushrooms, and behind each mushroom is a gnome. And I think just for the sake of simplicity, because all 3 mushrooms and gnome pairs are identical in their behavior. You basically click the mushroom to move the gnome out, and then you click the gnome to move him back behind the mushroom. So let's just do a simpler version of this, and we'll focus on this pair here, okay? And I numbered these in the complete program. This is mushroom 1, mushroom 2, mushroom 3, and the gnome behind each is gnome 1, gnome 2, gnome 3. So let's focus on mushroom 3, gnome 3, and then the other 2 are exactly the same in the way they're set up. So that's what we'll do here. Alright, so we're starting out with just a simple window, and we've put the graphic of the woods in here. So we'll add mushroom 3 and gnome 3. Now we talked about Z order, so the order in which we add them does count. Because we want the gnome behind the mushroom, then we have to add the gnome first. And because both of these images are going to respond to mouse clicks, we need to use the FC controls technique to add these. So really the first step in this process, if you recall from the Pillsbury Doughboy video, we always start by using FC controls to create an image, and that will allow the image to be clickable. Okay. And the second step in the process, even though I'm getting ahead of myself here, is to write the sub that has the code that will run when the image is clicked. Okay, and then the third step is really that one-liner where you wire it up. So, and by that I mean we connect the image with the sub that is supposed to run when the image is clicked. So let's start with step 1 here, and we'll use FC controls to create 2 images. First the gnome, and then the mushroom. So you'll see in the complete program I used names like M1, M2, and M3 for the 3 mushrooms, and G1, G2, G3 for the 3 gnomes. Maybe not the greatest names, but they're short and they'll serve their purpose. So we'll say G3 equals, of course, FC controls dot add image. Okay, and then we do have some pictures in our program directory. Okay, actually the gnome is the same picture in all 3 instances, even though we're using just 1 in this program. Just a quick FYI, in this program I'm using ping images.png. I told you to be mindful of the types of images I give you. They're not always JPEGs or GIFs. In this case we have a PNG image. So, okay, and then I'll go ahead and size it. FC controls, and remember what I said, you can use set height or set width, and just size one dimension of your image, and then the other dimension will follow suit. So, and I already tested the sizing and the positioning of everything in this program, and that's where I'm getting these numbers from. So finally we'll move him to his starting location. And he's going to be placed at 600X and 300Y. So let's take a look. And there he is. Alright, so now we will layer the mushroom on top. Okay, so we'll call this M3. Maybe I'll copy this and paste it. Alright, and then, okay, the mushrooms are also pings. So we'll go ahead and change that name. Oh, we have mushroom 3 there. The mushrooms are all a little different from one another. Okay, well, maybe I'll cut this too. Okay, so we have M3, and the position is at 220. or I'm sorry, the width is 220 there. And then M3, we are moving it to a starting position of 510 and 220. Okay. Okay, so here's the mushroom. You can see the gnome behind it, but that's fine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is write the code so that when the mushroom is clicked, the gnome is going to move out, all right? And we can use the FC Controls collection to animate a figure, all right, which is what we'll be doing here. So let's, this is step 2 now, and when we write that code that's going to move the gnome, that's going to be in a sub. We're going to write a sub to do that. So let's go ahead and write the sub. We start with our keyword sub, and then we have to come up with a name for the sub. Why don't we call this mushroom3 underscore click? Always a good descriptive name, so you know who's doing what, because we're ultimately going to have a lot of subs in a program, and you have to know who's doing what, so you can make sure you connect the correct control or the correct object, in this case the gnome or the mushroom, to the appropriate sub that's supposed to execute when that thing is clicked. So naming things properly is very important to make your life easier. All right, so let's see. Really, it's just a one-liner inside of the sub. We're moving the gnome out from behind the mushroom. So we'll say FC Controls dot move as animation. Move as animation. And who are we moving? The G3, which is the gnome 3. And his new coordinates will be 700, 300. And we will do that over a duration of 3 seconds. So we have to pass it an argument of 3,000 milliseconds. So this method takes 4 arguments. The name of the control or object that we're animating, the new X position, the new Y position, and the duration of the animation. Okay, so we're not done though yet. What we have to do is connect the mushroom to the sub that is going to execute when the mushroom is clicked. So now we're in step 3 here. We're going to wire it up. And so this is a one-liner here. We say FC Controls dot register mouse down event. Okay. And whom are we registering this event for? Mushroom 3. So we'll give it an M3. And then what is the name of the sub that's going to execute when mushroom 3 is clicked? Mushroom 3 underscore click. And you need to watch your typing on that. Okay, let's try it. Okay, here we go. And there he comes. There he goes, out from under the mushroom. Okay, so that's part 1. Now, why don't we write the code that will cause him to move back behind the mushroom when he is clicked. So now we're going to write a sub for the gnome and then wire him up as well. Okay, so I think I will just copy this, okay, and then we'll change this. We'll say gnome3 underscore click. And who are we moving? Still the gnome. However, he'll go back behind the mushroom, so that'll be about the 600X position. And his Y position doesn't change. It was always at 300. And then we'll keep it at the 3 seconds as well. So there's our sub. Now, we're not done yet, though. We have to wire him up. All right, so let's go ahead and type that line. This is a 3rd step in our process. We'll type the line to wire it up. So we're wiring up G3 to respond to a mouse down event, or a click, as we would say. And we have to make sure that we type the name of the appropriate sub that's going to execute when G3 is clicked. So that should do it. All right, there he is. And then he returns.